Salam and welcome back to Somali Dispatches and to our weekly program Dispatches. I am Abdirashid Mohamed. This week on Dispatches, we will be discussing some of the latest news from Somalia, specifically Somalia's election, including former spy chief Fahad Yasin winning a parliamentary seat in Beledweyne, incumbent MB and Minister of Planning Jamal Hassan questioning election process in Bossaso, and the FIET spokesperson saying Garbaharey elections could be postponed. And finally, the controversial oil exploration agreement signed by the Minister of Petroleum, Engineer Abdirashid Mohamed Ahmed. To discuss these and other issues, we will be joined by Sadia Ali Aden, an MD and a humanitarian activist, and Ibrahim Mohamed, a peace building and governance consultant. They both join us from the United States. I began by asking Sadia to give us her assessment on this week's elections in Beledweyne.
Thank you so much, Dispatch and Abdirashid Mohamed and Dispatch community. To be honest with you, before I jump into that, I like to just talk about the 4.5 itself, the formula, the CLAM formula, which I'm not fond of. I believe it's the biggest obstacle to peace for the Somali community, for the Somali society, and the Somali nation as a whole. That said, what we see today is not really election. It's you could say it's a selection, but it's not even a selection. It's a daylight robbery. That's what I like to call, where individuals are being selected and minorities are being robbed or looted from their own seats. As far as Fahad Yasin is concerned and his selection in Beledweyne, it's no different than what we have been seeing. So I was not surprised that he was selected. The same way I was not surprised to see Abdurrahman Abdishakur selected in Galmudug, or Mahat Salat, or Sadiq John. All those people, they're really all in the same, wagon. So I would not separate them. And I don't think there's justice in this selection, and there will never be one. I believe this parliament that's coming will be one of the worst parliament Somalis has ever witnessed. And I hope they will not, auction the Somali nation as a whole. That is my fear.
Okay, thank you for that, Sadia. Same question, Ibrahim. Ibrahim Mohamed, your assessment last week's election ramp up, if you will, and Fahad Yasin winning a parliamentary seat in Beledweyne, be it contested.
Gulek, thanks for having me. What happened yesterday was not an election, it was tragic. More than 50 people died. The bomb in a restaurant where the community were meeting, and everybody believes that it was destabilizing this community. So nobody will look into this robbery of the election. Fahad Yasin was not elected because nobody was really competing. He has kicked out all the legitimate competition. So he was there, he brought so many troops so he can be safely claim the seat. You can never call it an election. What's sad is the international community keeps saying we need to have a quick, credible election. They can see on their eyes it's neither quick nor credible, but they're not saying anything else. So it's really sad. It's not election. It's highway one, as Sadia said.
Right. The international community actually pivoted in saying, just meet the deadline of the 25th, which is a few days away. But Ibrahim, if I may stay with you and get your reaction on the similarly election dispute that's going on in Gedo, the second seat in Jubaland, and with FIET spokesperson saying election of those allocated 16 seats in Garbaharey could wait until perhaps maybe a new parliament is enacted. Your reaction to that?
If new parliament is reacted and they vote for a president without the voice of Garbaharey, then you are disfranchising the whole region. They will not be part of electing a president. So that is as wrong as robbing the ones in Beledweyne.
Right. Sadia, your reaction? Sorry, go ahead, Ibrahim.
We have to find a way to compromise so everybody can vote. That's my point.
Right.
I would go ahead.
Go ahead, Sadia, your reaction to what's going on in Garbaharey as it relates to the FIET spokesperson saying those disputed 16 seats could wait.
The spokesperson, in my belief, did not have the authority to make that call. And saying that they will be able to go ahead and move forward with the new parliament without Gedo region, which is one of the largest regions in Somalia and the biggest region of the 3 regions of Jubaland, is unacceptable. And it's not only adding insult to injury, but also depriving the people of Gedo their right to exercise their God-given rights. The people of Gedo have suffered. I know we're not going to get into that, but they have been under occupation before Ethiopia, now Kenya, and who knows, maybe in the next few months, it will be both Ethiopia and Kenya. People of Gedo have suffered. Their girls have been raped crossing the border. Their boys have been abducted. Their assets have been destroyed. And really, because it's a tragedy overall, and it's not only really Gedo, what's happening in Iran, what's happening in Seoul. There are regions that have been neglected completely, that authorities have really oppressed and humiliated the people and disfranchised, as Ibrahim said. So what's happening in these places are not really election. They're not even a selection, what we're calling, and the international community really doesn't care. And I don't believe they should care, because if we don't care about ourselves, why should they care? The Somalis have to start caring for themselves and for their people, and they have to be there for each and every one of them. When one is violated, each one of them should be concerned and react to that, regardless of their regional or geographical location.
Right.
If I may add.
Sure, go ahead.
Before the election takes place, you have to have dispute mechanism, independent dispute mechanism at hand. So when the dispute takes place, then the regional director or the president will not have a say. First, you come to the dispute mechanism. That's where you resolve the issues. My sadness of whole thing is that what happened to the large community? Why are we not outraged and really uprise of what's going on? What happened to us, the civil society, the general public?
Right. That's been missing. That's for sure. If I may go back to Sadia quickly and ask her about how now a different, member state, a federal member state, Puntland, is handling the seats allocated in Bossaso, to be elected in Bossaso, and the outcry that came from the Minister of Planning, Jamal Hassan, saying that, raising questions revolving around how transparent that election is. What is your reaction in Sadia in what's going on in Bossaso currently?
What's happening in Bossaso and what Dani, the president of Puntland, is doing to people of Bossaso is the same thing what Madobe is doing to people of Gedo. Even though it's a region versus city, still, I think the method that's being used, the strategy that's in place for both leaders is similar. If you remember, Jamal, the Minister of Planning, was stopped at the airport previously when he arrived to galvanize his community, so he would be able to win that seat. And if you remember, his arrival was almost blocked. It was delayed. At one point, they said he was even arrested, but I'm not sure if that really happened. But regardless, when he arrived in Bossaso, and he has met with the community elders that he represents from his community of Sanak, what's happened is basically trying to discourage people to vote for him. And there are bombings that are taking place in Bossaso, same way that we are seeing in Beledweyne. And those bombings are pointing finger toward the Dani, the president of Puntland. So these things should not be left unanswered. People have to be held accountable.
Right. As it relates to the insecurity near Bossaso or within Bossaso even today, the president's convoy was targeted. He survived that attack. Ibrahim, if I could get your thoughts on the same question, and perhaps ask you to hear from Minister Jamal, an incumbent parliamentarian currently, to even have him, voice these concerns. What does it say about the process, or can we even say the government, which Jamal is part of and a major minister, is to blame for what's going on and how this process is unfolding?
The process is twofold. Minister Jamal is a very powerful minister. Had he spoken out the irregularities of other seats, today's cry foul would have been valid. But he kept quiet. Under his noses, there were irregularities, there were robbery, and he didn't speak out. Now he came to Bossaso, and he was dealt with the same card that he dealt with the rest of us. So I'm not sad that he lost. I know Mr. Jamal, nice guy, but he hasn't done the due diligence that he was supposed to do. Obviously, the bomb that exploded was politically motivated bombing, and he lost his seat, not, how shall I say, legitimately. It was stolen from him, but it wasn't belong to him in the first place. So I'm really sorry what's going on in Somalia. Even the way he lost his seat, I'm sorry about it. But the fact he didn't speak about others.
I don't think the election took place yet, and he hasn't lost yet. But
actually, it was said it's going to lose. He's going to lose.
Yeah.
Everyone who's been said he's going to win or he's going to lose happened. So to me, it's a done deal. He will lose the seat.
Okay. If I may stay with you, Ibrahim, and perhaps pivot into a different topic.
Yes.
The Somali government, and specifically the Minister of Petroleum, Engineer, said that he confirmed that he signed over Twitter an agreement relating to several blocks of exploration, oil exploration in Somalia. If you can give us your reaction to that agreement and the subsequent dispute with the break with the government, the Prime Minister and the President saying they do not back that agreement and calling it illegal.
First of all, I'm surprised that he claims the President, the Prime Minister knew this deal, and they both disowned that deal, as they should, because there should not have been a deal after the President said, we cannot have a deal, international deal, until the election is over. So signing this deal at this time was wrong. What's also wrong is coastline. The characters in coastline are the same characters that own some oil. The company that was really was robbing Somalia to begin with.
Right.
So it's the same people behind it. So it's a fishy, and I'm glad that the government stopped this deal.
Sadia, your reaction to the oil exploration and deal and the rift it's causing between the Minister of Petroleum and the President and his Prime Minister as well. If you can chime in, would be great.
The minister, he either he has miscalculated when he has signed this agreement, or he really had a support, and the people who have supported it has decided that maybe it was not the right time to continue this support. But regardless, the minister has spoken with, he has given an interview to VOA last year, and that interview, when you compare it to the one he has given recently, completely contradict one another. In that interview, he says that I wanted to sign, but the President and the Prime Minister, exactly, I'm not sure how he put it, the words, but what he said was that they have said it was not the best time to sign, therefore let's wait until the election. Now, he came back and he said, it was signed and I had the support of the President. The President comes out and says, no, he doesn't have my support. And based on the agreement that was made, the decree that was passed, no agreement can be signed until after the election. And the Prime Minister also, of course, reacted, even though I didn't see that one, but I'm hearing from all the, bits and pieces of the news that I'm hearing. So, and also the other if I may just mention this also, I heard that he lost his seat, the minister. So one would wonder what was really his motive behind this whole charade that he has decided to undertake. It's very unfortunate, but whether he signed it or not, and whether someone has supported him or not, Somalia has been for sale for a long time. Abdirahman Abdishakur now is celebrating having a seat, and I saw him, people congratulating him, some of them apologizing to him when Somalis thought that they have won the case against Kenya at the ICJ, but in fact Somalia has lost 19. What is it? 19. Exactly. Yeah. So exactly. So there's no accountability. We congratulate the people who are selling the country. We congratulate the people who are killing and murdering innocent people who rape, people who starve. In my opinion, this parliament is going to be full of, war profiteers, those who have killed, those who have raped, those who have stolen, and those who have committed treason. So it's very sad, to say the least.
Right. Finally, the Petroleum Minister, Engineer Abdirashid Mohamed Ahmed, I'll give you a chance, Ibrahim. And is actually not giving any new interviews as it relates to that deal, and he did admitted to holding off as per the president's degree in signing any new contracts, and it is a discrepancy, and it's interesting, and we look forward to hearing from Engineer Abdirashid Mohamed Ahmed on that topic. But Ibrahim, the current Somali president, who overstayed in his term, is a populist, is credited in invigorating, as it called, quote unquote, the nationalism morale of Somalis. Having said all of these things, the country being on sale, elections marred with all kind of corruption and inconsistencies, what does all of that do to the incumbent president's legacy?
I think the incumbent president, as he brags about that he brought back nationalism or the dignity of the country, it's somewhat true. The way he dealt with Kenya was admirable. The way he kicked out the UN rep was also admirable, though the UN rep didn't do wrong by questioning what happened in Ismail. To me, he was right. But for us to have the power to kick them out, even though I disagree, I somewhat was glad to see that. But I wanted to tell you something about the petroleum. Now, the Prime Minister referred the case of this signing to the Auditor General. The Auditor General is investigating, and he already concluded that it was wrong. If someone doesn't go to jail to this, then it's business as usual. Someone should go to jail.
Right.
The minister or his advisors.
Right. I immensely appreciate the both of you joining us today and diving in and explaining and giving your interpretation or your assessment on these pregnant items as they related to Somalia and last week and what transpired. I look forward in hearing from the both of you on different subjects and matters, and I greatly appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.